So here's a question for you. Can you remember the past 5 things you were daydreaming about? No? Maybe? Yes? Kind of? Let me know in the comments. But here's the thing. We spend about 50% of our day daydreaming or mind wandering. So that's half of your waking life with your mind spent somewhere else. Somewhere other than in the now, either rehearsing the past, thinking about conversations, problem solving, thinking about the future, anywhere but here right now. And here's the problem, that drifting, unfocused state, well, that's basically the same as dreaming. And you might even be doing it right now. You're listening to my words, watching the screen, but another part of your brain is off somewhere thinking, should I keep watching this? What do I have to do later? Blah, blah, blah. Your mind is very rarely in one singular place. Think about the last time you zoned out. You might have been scrolling through your phone mindlessly, not really realizing what you were doing, having a conversation with a friend, nodding along but not really hearing what they were saying. Or maybe you were driving and you realize you can't remember the past 10 minutes. And that's basically exactly what happens in dreams. You just drift along, not questioning, going with the flow. So what does that mean? Well, it means that for 50% of your day, you're training yourself to not be lucid. You're doing the opposite of what is required for lucid dreaming. So today we're going to change that, and I'm going to show you a ridiculously simple shortcut that will rewire your brain, reframe your neurons so that you stop drifting into autopilot and start being lucid not only in your dreams, but in waking life also. You're dreaming right now. So here's the big question. If you spend half of your life mind-wandering, drifting through thoughts, not really paying attention, how is that any different from dreams? If you want to be a lucid dreamer, you need to stop thinking about dreams as surreal, strange, other experiences, and instead think of them as being lost in the narrative, lost in the moment, lost in thought, and you do that all the time. And it gets even weirder. Your brain doesn't see reality as it actually is. In fact, what it's doing is making a prediction about what now should be like. In fact, this thing you're experiencing right now that you think is solid reality, this perfectly formed solid world, is actually just a best guess. Take a small object like a pen and drop it from one hand into the other. What's going on? Well, the lived experience, the subjective experience, feels like you watch the pen drop, it hits your hand, you feel it land in your hand, it makes a noise. All these things happen at the same time. But that's not what's happening at all. You're seeing a model, a prediction, a best guess, because light moves much faster than sound, and your nervous system transmits impulses even slower. So how can you experience them all at exactly the same time? So even if you are paying attention to the now, to this moment itself isn't even real. It's a strange collage of the past mixed together with best guesses of the future. You're living in a dream, whether you're paying attention or not. And this isn't some weird theory or metaphysics. It's basic neuroscience and physiology and physics all rolled into one. When you look at the human being, we are not reality experiencing machines. We are best guess machines. We are manipulators of models. We predict what the world is going to be. We're making the best of our limited hardware. Or in other words, your experience of reality is filtered. It is the result at the end of many, many equations. It is a model. So your perception of the world is a controlled hallucination stabilized by certain parts of your brain, which is fed to another part of your brain that may or may not be giving its full attention to that illusion. And there's another layer to the illusion. So we know that our experience of the world is an illusion. We know that we can be distracted by our thoughts, so we're not even giving our full attention to that illusion. But who is it who's having the experience? You might say, well, it's just me, myself, I. What is that? Well, that's just another illusion created by your brain in order to tie it all together. And just to be clear, when I'm using the word illusion, that's not to imply that it's not real. It's just not real in the way that it seems. It may feel like you're looking at the real world. It may feel like you have a sense of self that is witnessing that world. It may feel like you're having thoughts in that mental space, but those feelings are the illusions. All of those things are occurring, but it is the entire holistic process that is the self. You are as much your perceptions as you are your self-identity. You can basically sum up a human as a collection of models, and it's incredibly, incredibly high resolution. Language is a model, self is a model, perception is a model, thoughts are, by definition, models. We are creatures of models. And dreaming is the pinnacle of that process. It is a model of self experiencing a model of the universe. How to rewrite the model. So, Daniel Love is a collection of mental models working in tandem, in the same way that I am a collection of cells and organs working in tandem. In the same way that I can't point to a single body part and say, that's me, I can't point to a single part of my brain and say, that's me either, or a single mental model. But if that's the case, who on earth becomes lucid? Well, the answer is the alignment of the system itself, of the overall holistic picture. And we do that by aligning various different parts of the brain towards the same target. Okay, so I know this all sounds really complicated so far, because it is, but there's a good side to this, which is your brain does all the hard work for you. And even though this is complicated, you can do simple things to achieve a very complex goal. And that's exactly what we're going to do. Step 1. Catch yourself mind wandering. It's as simple as that. So as you go throughout your day, try to notice when your mind moves away from direct perception, when you turn inwards, when you're worrying about paying a bill, when you're thinking about a conversation, when you're wondering what you might have for dinner, when you're feeling strong emotions, anything that's other than direct perception, when you go inwards. And this is, as many of you will already know, metacognition. And metacognition is proven to be key to lucid dreaming. It simply means thinking about how you think. And remember, there's no forcing of focus here. There's no snapping back to reality. Just notice when it occurs. Step 2. Now, instead of just snapping out of the daydream, we're going to use the process of mind wandering and daydreaming itself. So it doesn't matter what you're daydreaming about, we're going to change the narrative of the daydream. And what we're doing here is we're retraining the default mode network. This part of your brain is responsible both for mind wandering and daydreams and night dreams. So we're learning to retrain our default mode network, to realign it. So let's say you're sitting at your favorite cafe enjoying an iced hazelnut latte, always the best choice, and your mind starts to wander thinking about a future holiday, and you catch yourself doing that. Now, instead of thinking, oh, I was daydreaming, better stop doing that, instead take the daydream and reframe it like this. Stay in the daydream state, the active default mode network, and turn it onto your current situation. So you're bringing direct perception and internal distractions together. The default mode network and perception are going to work in tandem now. And you're going to look at your current experience and think to yourself, well, if this were a dream right now, how would I make the most of it? How would I enjoy this as a lucid dream? And then just let your mind wander for a few moments, enjoying this new lucid daydream about your current circumstances. So if you're enjoying your iced hazelnut latte at your favorite cafe, you might think, well, it'd be really great to fly up to the top of that building just over there, or I want to go and talk to that person over there and ask them all about their life. Whatever you'd want to do in that moment, daydream about it. So why does this work? Well, instead of falling into the default mode network of mind wandering and daydreaming and just going with whatever thought your brain brings up, you're reframing it. You're moving it back towards being aligned with lucidity. But not only that, you're training your mind to have active metacognition, to notice when you slip into distraction and daydreams. Or to put it really simply, the kinds of things that you're daydreaming about during the day are also the same seeds that will create your dreams of tonight. So we're just reseeding our daydreams to be aligned towards lucidity. You are what you think about. And if you want to think even more about lucid dreaming, try watching one of the videos on the screen right now and hitting that subscribe button. I'll see you there.